G'day everybody, what's going on? I've just brought out a new book. It's something I've been looking to do for a while. It's called Giving Me the Sheets. It's Understanding Commercial Bed Linen. So, what's the difference with commercial bed linen, you might ask? I mean, bed linen's bed linen. How can it change? Well, the truth is, commercial bed linen is very different to what you'll buy on the retail market. So, if you're running a hotel or bed and breakfast, maybe you've got a hospital or some form of accommodation, and you're in a position where you need to launder your sheets a lot. And by a lot, I mean, once or twice a week. Then you're not going to want to buy the type of linen that you will get in, say, a variety store or your average retail outlet. That's boutique linen. It's for personalized use. It's really not built to put up with the rigors and the pummeling it's going to take from a commercial laundromat. So let's get started. Let me explain the number one thing you've got to understand when you're buying commercial linen. Rule number one is, of course, don't think that high thread count means better linen. It doesn't. Now this is like the tire kicker's guide to buying a car. When you see someone, they kick a tire and you're like, well, you don't really know anything about cars. But when somebody stands in a shop and they wave the packet above their head and they say, it's 2,000 thread count, it's 2,000 thread count, it means nothing, right? It doesn't make it twice as good as a 1,000 or 4 times as good as a 500 thread count. It just means it's got finer threads. That's what it means. And if you take a sheet with a very high thread count, like 2,000 thread count, and you go and put that through a commercial laundry, then what's going to happen, right, is that it's going to start breaking the threads, and then you're going to get pilling. So the life of a high thread count sheet is very, very short, especially if it's put through a commercial laundry. So what you really want to be doing is you want to be looking for commercial linen that has a heavy GSM. And by GSM, we mean grams per square meter. So if you want to work out what a GSM is, essentially, if you had a spare piece of linen, you would get a pair of scissors, you would cut 1 square meter of bed sheet, you would place it on a set of digital scales, and you would see what the weight is. And if it's commercial, it's probably going to be somewhere like between about 140, if it's a 50-50 polycotton, 140 to maybe 170 GSM. And if it's a retail sheet that you might buy from a variety store or even a supermarket, you're probably going to find that the GSM is closer to 80 to 110. So it's more lightweight. And irrespective of the number of threads it has, if it's lightweight, it's got less product. So less product means there's less cost. So when they're making retail linen, really what they want to do is they're trying to use as little product as possible and get the highest price. But in the commercial industry, like what we're in, if you're looking at this and you're probably in the commercial industry, you want to know about proper bed linen. You want heavy, strong, robust bed linen that still feels beautiful against the skin. We're going to run you through a few different things that you should be looking for with commercial bed linen. Number one, of course, is, as I've already said, GSM. Now, let's take 50-50 polycotton. If you're buying from my company, which is Hotel Products Direct, you would find that a 50-50 polycotton is about 170 to 175 GSM, grams per square meter. That means it's quite thick. Now, if you can think of like a sponge, right? The thicker the sponge, the more it absorbs. Well, this is a little bit true with bed sheets too. If you have a thick, heavyweight bed sheet, then essentially, if you sweat in the bed, it's going to absorb more moisture off you. If you have a thin, high thread count bed sheet, it's not going to absorb much, and it's going to end up sticking to you, sometimes a bit like Glad wrap. So this is why when you sleep in a hotel bed, people think, what's the difference? And you quite often, you find you're nice and dry against those sheets. That's the difference. That's one of the differences. Another one of the differences is it's stronger, so it doesn't stretch. So thick threads are stronger threads. So after multiple uses, so sometimes your bed linen at home has become stretched, and when you put on the bed like the flat sheet, it doesn't sit flat. You get those ripples running across it. Well, commercial bed linen is stronger than that. It will tend to sit flat. A third item is because the threads are thicker, you don't get the pilling effect. So the pilling is the balling effect that happens to some sheets. So let me explain it like this. When a thread breaks, it retracts down along the weave. And with each break, you get two ends of the thread, and that's two balls. And then you get another break and another break. Now, some people, and I've read this online, and they are completely wrong. They will tell you to cut or shave the balling off. If you do that, if you cut or shave the balling off, you can end up with more balling because it's irreversible. The more you cut off, the more you'll get. So, you'll get the wrapped around, you'll cut it, and then you'll end up with 4 threads and 8 threads and 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, until the whole sheet's just a complete mess. So it's far better to have a sheet that doesn't do that to start with than a sheet that you're trying to fix, because you can't really fix it. The minute it starts pilling, honestly, that's the beginning of the end for that sheet. And nobody wants to sleep on sheets that are pilling. Now, another thing you'll notice with good commercial linen, similar to what we sell here, or all the stuff we sell here, is that we put a 5 centimeter hem. Now, because a lot of brands are more conscious about the usage of their materials, a lot of sheets have done away with the hem because they see it as being a waste, because you're using a bit of extra length in the sheeting and you're folding it back. And people say, well, why have a wide hem? Why not just give a 1 centimeter overlock around it and you use less sheeting? And this is true, you use less sheeting, but here's where the problem falls. If you're in housekeeping and you are a chief executive housekeeper and you are having to make the beds in the quickest, shortest amount of time possible, because that is what is expected of the cleaning staff, it's nice to be able to get a sheet that's got a hem along the leading edge, because the minute you grab that sheet and go and put that on the bed, you're going to know which end is the top and which end is the bottom, which is the left, which is the right. Without even thinking, you just see the hem and you instantly do it. Whereas when you have a sheet that's got a 1 centimeter overlock the whole way around, it's not uncommon to put the sheet on and then realize you've got it wrong and then turn the sheet around. This is a waste of time. It's a waste of time and energy, and it's just frustrating. So when you buy a sheet from, say, Hotel Products Direct, you will get that leading edge on every sheet, every 50-50 polycotton sheet, and that will simplify your housekeeping, your changeovers. The other thing is that because the hem is turned over, you can see which side is generally the face down and which side is the face up. Now, you can rotate your sheets. There's nothing wrong with rotating sheets, and you might have a rule for doing that. You might say, okay, well, staff is people who stay the weekend, so they may use the same sort of bed linen from the Friday through to Sunday, but you do a changeover on the Saturday. You might just turn the sheet over so that the clean side is against the body, and then you pull it off on the Sunday or the Monday and wash it. So that's works better when you've got sheets that are designed to identify how they're supposed to be laid. Let's see if we go with that. Let's see if there's been some help. So I'm Andrew Closter. This is the short-term accommodation guide, otherwise known as the Stag. Welcome to the Stag. No, it has nothing to do with stag nights. Nothing at all. Thank you for asking. This is giving me the sheets, and it's giving me the sheets. I hope you enjoy it. We're gonna build on this. We're gonna make this thicker every week.